Okay, we're going to continue on in our Father's Word. This is Numbers chapter 14, verse 20. And the Lord said, I have pardoned according to thy word, but as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice, surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully, him I will bring into the land whereinto he went, and his seed shall possess it. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwelt in the valley. Tomorrow turn you, and get you into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. Now, 14,000 years ago, God came back to earth, and he found a third of his children following Satan. That's Revelation 12, verse 3. And the dragon used his tail to sweep 1/3 of God's stars. And God shook the earth, and the firmament came crashing down. Tuhuavuhu means void and without form. And so on the Katabole, spelled Katabole, Satan's overthrow, when a third of God's children, his stars, spiritual creatures, we were spiritual creatures in the first earth age, and Atlantis was covered up, Lemuria was covered up, all those cities around India were covered up, Japan. When the firmament came crashing down, that was the first great flood. Tuhuavuhu means void and without form. God did not create earth void and without form. God made earth void and without form. And then on the 6th day after the Katabole, God created flesh man. To find out, you got your choice. Either love God or follow Satan to that lake of fire. Either one you want, you're the only one that can make that choice. Grandma, grandpa, uncle, aunt, they can't love God for you. Mama, daddy, brother, sister, they can't. Only you can love God and allow Christ into your heart and repent of your sins. And God watches your every move, every day, and he writes it down in that book of life. Now, on the 6th day after the Katabole, that'd be 8,000 years ago, God created flesh man. And how did he do it? He took the clay from the earth. He's our potter. What's in the clay? The DNA is in the clay. Duodenum man, Neanderthal man, all those creatures that didn't have a soul, they were animals. And they were in our DNA. That's what God used to create us from. From that's in the clay. He's our potter. Ecclesiastes 12, verses 6 and 7. When the silver cord parts, the clay pot breaks. When you quit sucking air, when you're clinically dead, your flesh body returns back to that dirt, back to the clay, and your spiritual body returns to God to be judged. And you'll either go to one side of the gulf or the other side of the gulf. Like Luke 16, Lazarus and the rich man. Lazarus went to the bosom of Abraham, and the rich man went to the dark side of the gulf. You got two sides of the gulf, Satan's side and God's side. It's up to you, whichever one you want. It's all up to you. And then God created Adam and Eve, and Satan beguiled Eve. That means he had holy sex, sexual contact with Eve. He beguiled Eve with a godly influence. Because Satan is a little g God. And he's beautiful. And he's very persuasive. So, and Cain was the result of that. And Adam had sex with Eve and Abel. They were twins. Cain was born first, then Abel. And Cain killed Abel. The Kenites, the descendants of Cain. And so God put a curse on Cain so that he can't grow food. He can't be a farmer. Cain cannot be a farmer. You can watch him every night. The descendants of Cain, the Kenites, every night on the 6 o'clock news. They're still here. And what happened? Satan, in order to try to mess the bloodline of Christ up so the Messiah couldn't be born, Satan sent the fallen angels, the Nephilim. They look like a bat. When you look at the rock art of the fallen angels, now in the book of Enoch, it talks about 200 fallen angels. And those fallen angels had sex with the daughters of Adam, and it created giants and men of renown. And God sent that flood to kill all the giants and the men of renown. And Noah and only his family were left. You had Noah, his 3 sons, and their wives. So that's 8 Adamic with the B blood type. The farmer, the husbandman, the tiller of the dirt. Then you had 2 black folk with the O blood, hunter-gatherers. You had 2 white European, the cavemen of Europe, the hunter-gatherers with the O blood. And then you got the red-skinned people of Asia with the A blood, the fish and rice eaters. And then you got 2 Kenites that were on the ark. So that's 16 souls that were on the ark. Then God sent Joseph into Egypt. And after 400 years of slavery to the Egyptians, God sent Israel into the land of Canaan. And what happened in the land of Canaan? Satan did the same thing. He sent the fallen angels to the Jebusites, the Perizzites, all those heathen tribes. The Philistines, the Palestinians of today. Gaza's the same place it's always been. They mixed with the fallen angels. And when that happened, giants, the Amalekites, you got David killed Goliath. He was a giant. You got old King Oz. He had a bed 9 cubits by 4 cubits wide. Now that's a big bed. Old King Oz of Bashan was a giant. And then you look over there in Jordan today, the Edomites, they mixed with the fallen angels also, because they got the great giant rooms over there in Petra, their capital city, Mount Seir, Jordan. That's where the Edomites, descendants of Esau, the hairy-armed, hairy-chested, red Russian bears, they ended up settled in Moscow. The Edomites mixed with the fallen angels because they had those giant rooms in Petra, the great tourist attraction over there in Jordan, that you can see it, and it was all there. Now, I probably shouldn't tell you this, but it's another rock story, and that's where Moses' brother Aaron died at Mount Seir, and that's also where Moses took his staff and hit the rock. Instead of telling the rock to give him water and asking God and giving God the results of the water, feeding the flock, instead of giving God credit for the water, Moses took credit for the water. And that rock is still over there. It's weeping water out of the rock. And it's over there in Jordan even to this day, and nobody's stolen it. It's still right there where Moses did it. So Moses didn't give God credit